I find myself in an ancient crypt hidden beneath the palace's foundations, where time seems to have been forgotten. The environment is cold and damp, and the stone walls, carved with arcane symbols, stretch through narrow corridors, illuminated only by beams of light that escape from small cracks in the ceiling. The air is imbued with the scent of moss and ashes, and every breath reminds me that I am immersed in a place where the stories of ancient eras still echo. It is in this silent refuge, far from the political chatter and intrigues that surround me, that I decide to delve into ancient records in search of answers about the prophecy which, according to scattered rumors, speaks of the bearer of the void. As I traverse the crypt's corridors, my footsteps echo as if the very stone wished to reveal secrets. In a circular room, its walls adorned with time-worn reliefs, I find a granite altar covered in inscriptions in a forgotten language. As I approach, I feel a shiver run down my spine. Each symbol seems to pulse with latent energy, as if the echoes of the past were crying out to be heard. I sit before the altar and, with the caution of a man who has suffered many betrayals, I begin to decipher the inscriptions using an old holographic translator that I carry with me, a modest artifact, but one that has saved me more than once. As the characters transform into words, I read a passage that makes me pause for a moment. When the void meets the bearer, the shadows of the past will rise to shape the destiny of the empire. Those words echo in my mind and remind me of the days of training, the battles I fought to prove my worth, and the scars I bear as a reminder that power, no matter how sought after, never comes without a price. Deep within my soul, I sense that something momentous is approaching, an ancient cycle that, in some way, has destined me for a fate I do not yet fully comprehend. As I remain absorbed in the reading, I am interrupted by the soft sound of footsteps coming from a side corridor. I raise my gaze and see a figure emerging from the shadows, a man with an austere appearance, his hair graying and his eyes shining with a mixture of wisdom and sorrow. He wears a simple robe, yet his gestures denote a commanding presence. "I was expecting you, Kaelion," he says, in a calm, deep voice that seems to carry echoes of a time when bearers of the void were revered. I feel a mixture of surprise and recognition. Although I don't know him fully, something in his demeanor tells me that he belongs to the same lineage of secrets and shadows that now haunts my destiny. "Who are you?" I ask, trying to hide the tension that consumes me inside. "My name is Marcellus. I was once a guardian of ancient traditions, and my journey has brought me back to reveal the secrets that have been forgotten." As Marcellus approaches, his eyes scrutinize mine with an intensity that makes me feel exposed, as if all my flaws and doubts were laid bare. He observes the altar and the holographic scroll that I had been slowly deciphering. "You bear the burden of the void, but also the promise of rebirth. The prophecy you just read is not mere myth. It is the truth that connects the past to the future of this empire," he asserts, as his fingers lightly trace the carvings on the wall. I feel my heart race, and a long-hidden unease begins to surface within me. Marcellus continues to explain that for centuries, a secret order has preserved the knowledge of the void, using rituals that transformed power into balance. He mentions that my presence is not accidental, but the result of a recurring cycle in which each generation has the opportunity, or curse, to redeem the empire through mastery of this ancient power.
Quick tip to level up your experience. Read Manhwas and light novels for free. Listen to epic audiobooks. Watch unlimited anime. Play cloud games with no console. And stream the best anime soundtracks. Check the description now and grab your free trials.
I then decide to join forces with Marcellus. Together, we explore the crypt in search of more records that might clarify the prophecy and my connection to the void. In a hidden room, concealed by a heavy iron door adorned with symbols that seem to subtly shift in form with the light, we discover a collection of ancient scrolls stored in a massive wooden chest. We sat on the cold floor, with the distant echo of my footsteps still resonating in the corridor, and began to read. The scrolls recount the story of an era when the empire was ruled by masters of the void, men and women who knew how to balance destructive force with the power to create. Each page reveals that the bearer of the void was seen as a harbinger of rebirth, but also as someone who carried the risk of bringing ruin if they did not master their powers. As I read, a revelation hits me with force. The texts speak of a singular ritual, a final test that each bearer must face to prove that they can harness the void for good, even if their path is marked by darkness. I sense that this ritual is not merely a physical test, but a profound spiritual trial, one that will force each person to confront their innermost fears and embrace the duality within their soul. Marcellus, with a grave look, shares his own story, a narrative of redemption and sacrifice, in which he, once a rebellious young man, was forced to confront the horrors of the void and, only then, found true inner peace. I fought against my shadows, Kaelion. It was a tortuous path, filled with loss and regret. But it was in that struggle that I learned to see the beauty of duality. The void doesn't have to be your downfall if you learn to master it wisely, he confides, his voice choked with painful memories. My hands tremble slightly as I absorb every word. The revelation that my journey is intertwined with an ancient cycle fills me with both hope and a profound sense of responsibility. I feel that every step I've taken thus far has prepared me for this moment, and that the only way out of uncertainty is to face, head-on, the ghosts of the past that still haunt the present. As Marcellus and I exchange ideas and decipher fragments of a lost ritual, a new sensation emerges. An internal conflict that reminds me that, despite all the knowledge acquired, the true battle is waged within myself. The doubts and fears that have always haunted me, the apprehension of not being worthy of the power I bear, the terror of losing myself in the darkness, stir like storms within me. I find myself forced to confront not only the secrets left by the ancients, but also the parts of myself I had preferred to bury. In a moment of deep introspection, as the glow of the scrolls mingles with the soft light of the crypt, I murmur to myself, am I truly ready to bear this burden? Can I, in fact, transcend the shadow of my past and become the harbinger of redemption, or will I be consumed by the darkness I strive to control? These questions resonate in my mind like a mantra, as I seek the strength to embrace my own vulnerability and, with it, the potential to transform. The internal tension reaches its peak on a night when the crypt seems to vibrate with a supernatural energy. As Marcellus guides me in preparing the ritual described in the scrolls, I feel the void within me crying out to be mastered. The environment around us shifts, the shadows seem to come alive, dancing to the rhythm of a non-existent wind, and the glow of the ancient lamps becomes almost spectral. Marcellus raises a hand in a commanding gesture and says, "This is the moment, Kaelion. To prove that you are worthy of the title bearer of the void, you must confront the truth that resides within your own shadows. The ritual is not just to unveil the secrets of the past, but to forge a new path for the future." With my heart pounding erratically, I position myself before a magical circle inscribed on the stone floor. At its center, the symbols from the scrolls shine brightly. I close my eyes and take a deep breath, allowing the energy of the void to flow through me. In an instant that seems suspended in time, intense visions seize my mind. Unknown faces, battles fought in the name of long-forgotten ideals, and a silent cry that beckons me to embrace my very essence, both light and darkness. I feel the weight of every memory, every mistake, and every triumph, as if all of time were condensing into this single moment. In a cry of both defiance and resignation, I throw myself into the ritual, allowing the void to manifest in its purest form. The energy becomes almost tangible, enveloping me in an aura that oscillates between the comforting warmth of light and the relentless chill of shadow. My body trembles, and for a brief instant, I feel as though I stand on the brink of an abyss, the abyss that separates redemption from damnation. When I open my eyes again, the crypt seems to have calmed, but within me, the transformation has already begun. I feel that by facing my deepest fears, I have crossed a line that separates me from the man I once was, and brings me closer to becoming the true bearer of the void. Silence returns to the crypt, and Marcellus approaches with a look that blends pride and sorrow. He places his hand on my shoulder, and for a moment, our souls seem to converse without words. You have faced the echoes of the past and plunged into the abyss of your own essence. This ritual is only the beginning, Kaelion. The path of the void is eternal, and every choice you make now will determine not only your destiny, but the destiny of the entire Orien dynasty, he says, his voice firm. While I absorb his words, I realize that the scrolls and symbols I deciphered have given me not only knowledge but also a new perspective on who I am and what I must do. I feel that the shadow of my past, no matter how painful it may be, can be transformed into a source of power and wisdom, if only I learn to embrace every facet of my existence. I gather the scrolls and, with renewed determination, promise myself that I will not allow the void to become my downfall. Instead, I will use it to rewrite the history of the empire, to break the chains of prejudice and tradition that imprison it. As I leave the crypt, every step resounds with the certainty that the ancient cycle is unfolding before me, revealing secrets yet to be told. Marcellus's presence accompanies me like a guiding light, and even though my path is filled with shadows and doubts, I now feel capable of facing the future with the courage of a man who has stared down his own demons. Back in the palace quarters, under the fragile light of dawn beginning to break the darkness, I find a moment of calm to reflect on all I have experienced. I sit before a small window, where the first rays of the sun sketch lines of light across the horizon, and I let the silence envelop me. The scroll that guided the ritual rests by my side, its inscriptions now a constant reminder of the duality I carry, the eternal tension between light and shadow, between creation and destruction. In my chest, the void pulses, no longer as an enemy to be feared, but as a part of me that must be understood and, perhaps, mastered. As I watch the day break, I recall Marcellus's words and the advice I was given, that every choice, every sacrifice, shapes not only my destiny, but the destiny of the entire Orien dynasty. I know that the journey I've chosen is a solitary one, fraught with challenges, but I also know that it is the only way to rewrite history and transcend the shackles of the past. With a heavy heart, yet with the determination of an anti-hero who refuses to conform to the expectations of others, I rise and make the decision to continue my quest. The shadow of the past, with all its echoes and secrets, now guides me toward an uncertain future, yet one filled with possibilities. And so, as the city slowly awakens and the sun spreads its light through the ruins and corners of the empire, I prepare to face whatever comes next, fully aware that every step, every sigh, and every echo of ancient times is an invitation for me to forge, with my own hands, a new destiny for the Orien dynasty.
Did you enjoy the video? Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. This helps us know which stories you love most and which ones we should prioritize in future productions. Your support is essential for us to keep bringing you the best manhwa content every day. See you in the next episode.